Joe, a new conference for SMU this year. They start off in week 0. I think that there are a lot of people in the greater Dallas area. And be honest with you, I think just football fans in general are really wanting to see what Rhett Lashlee and the gang at SMU is going to be able to pull off here in week 0. Can they go into the ACC and have a lot of the same success like they did last year when they went 11-3?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I said in the open, I'm always really careful about any of these teams that are moving up or just moving conferences in general. Like, you need to have a Texas-type roster where you've been recruiting at an elite level when you make the jump to more difficult competition.
Mm-hmm.
This is a case where it was a bit instant when they made this change to the ACC. It was in all the commotion that they were just one of the aggressive teams. I really like Elijah Roberts. There's a lot of money being thrown around for them to become a legit program. So that's part of the reason why I'm optimistic. I think Preston Stone is great for their success. What I'm paying attention to in this Nevada game, I just want to see, is their offensive line going to dominate? And is their D-line, led by Elijah Roberts, going to get a lot of sack production, a lot of tackles for loss against the run? If they kick ass along the lines of scrimmage, most of my doubt on how they're going to play in the ACC this year goes out the window. I'd be all in on how good they can be if they kick some serious ass, because that is where, when you move up in competition, where any resistance, any slowdown typically comes, is because you don't have the bodies yet and the guys yet, the athletes yet, along the line of scrimmage to compete. We're going to find that out when they face off with Nevada. I think this is a CBS Sports Network game. I think is what this one's on.
Yeah, they always have at least one game at night on week 0. Yeah. Remember, they had Hawaii and Vanderbilt. Remember, what was it, 2 years ago when Vandy actually almost became bowl eligible? Gotta love the Commodores, man. Gotta love the Commodores. Look, Joe, you know this, I think a little bit more than most. I love Rhett Lashlee. Have had a lot, personally, I'm going to try very hard not to be biased here. However, I agree with you. I don't know if their offensive line doesn't show promise that they can't do some really good things in the ACC year 1. I am worried about going into a bigger conference, though, and I know it's not going to really show itself in week 1, but I do worry about them going into a new conference where Preston Stone did only throw for 59.9% completion percentage last year. Was very serviceable, very good, 28 passing touchdowns, 6 picks, did make some good decisions, just not as accurate at times as he probably needed to be. They're another team, Joe, when I look at him, when everybody returns. Like, Joe, what do we see in college football these days? When you have a team that doesn't have to replace a lot and you got a year or 2 with the team, what do they always do? I was thinking about this with SMU today when I was finalizing notes based off of what we saw last year. Second year Bo Nix at Oregon. How did they do? Second year Michael Penix at Washington. How did they do? Second year Jaden Daniels at LSU. How did they do? Joe, the top 3 offenses last year all had the same things in common. Everybody returned. And I look at SMU. I agree with you with the O-line. Bro, your pass game doesn't get worse with all your receivers coming back, your top running backs coming back, and your starting quarterback. Joe, I'm borderline on SMU. In reference to this game, I think they're going to be very improved, and they're going to show it. They're going to want to make a statement in game 1 versus Nevada.
I think one thing, too, that really just flashes to me, this is one of the few rosters that when you just look at their depth chart, you see that the amount of graduate level players, and that means nothing these days, because I don't know if that means you've been playing for 5 years or if you've been playing for 8, but it does mean that you're experienced and you've been playing a lot of college football. I'm just going to guess it's a lot of 5th and then maybe a couple 6th-year guys.
Well, a lot of 6th-year guys.
There's still some of those guys floating around there. They've got 3 offensive linemen that are graduate level players. They have 2 defensive linemen that are graduate level players. They are experienced in the most important way possible, which is not only having older guys, but guys that are in their getting close to their mid-20s. Guys that are 22, 23, some maybe they end up being 24. That stuff shows up. I really think that they're going to they're going to start their season with a bang. I think that the idea is when you're going up against a sputtering Nevada program that's kind of just there, that they want to prove to everybody, hey, look, we're much more of a much more competition than you think that we are. And you want to build some momentum and some confidence. And I'd be willing to bet that they're looking at this as that opportunity to hit the ground running heading into ACC play.
I do too. Now, look, Preston Stone's got to get better in decision making and being more accurate. Joe, look, 60% completion percentage is below average even at the G5 level. You got to pick it up when you just got to make better and crisper and earlier decisions. Look, Rhett's going to throw that thing now. He comes from the same tree in the offense that I committed to and play for. You got to, as someone who sat in Hal Mummy type meetings for God knows how long with Coach Rowland and Mike Lucas and the gang, you literally have to get the ball out quick. And I felt like when he was streaky, very on, very hot. But when the bad times got bad, the bad times got bad, right? And those were the things that I think he's got to clean up. Joe, they're going to score so much. They got a lot of speed. By the way, they've recruited well. They got a lot of young players from that Duncanville, Dallas area that they've brought in that got some serious speed. There are going to be guys that they have this year that we are not talking about, even though you return your entire receiving core. They're going to blossom because they're just better overall talented dudes. I think that they're going to make some waves, and I really think they'll make some waves this year offensively. It's hard for me to not say that I don't think Rhett Lashley starts getting in conversations for these bigger jobs. If he gets another 10, 11, 12-win year, I mean, he will. Just how do you do it in a new conference is going to be a big deal. In reference to Nevada, Joe, I was told by a little bird that he might want to come out and establish the running game more than they have the last couple of years. So we'll see.
This video is sponsored by the online fitness training camp presented by Chris Gates Fitness. When I first started talking about Chris, about partnering with our show, not only was I excited to have a fitness sponsor for our pod, but more importantly, when I found out about how he can help people achieve their goals, I was even more bought in, because when the football season starts, it is so tough to stay on top of things and also to be able to enjoy yourself on Saturdays when it's game day. With Chris Gates Fitness's online training camp, you're going to be able to effectively stay focused, consistent, burn fat, build muscle, and do it with a like-minded community of individuals working towards the same thing. On top of this, you're going to be able to get direct coaching from Chris and the ability to ask him questions with an access to a live Q&A where you can get direct personalized support from Chris himself. Don't wait any longer. If you're trying to get in shape during this fall and you want to be able to do it with the right support system, head on over to chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp or click the link in the description. And you need to do it today because you can get the first month. Personal training is expensive, folks. The first month for only $10 when you use that code RuffinoJoe. Don't wait any longer. Head on over there. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.